Welcome to Returning Resident 101. Today we're going to go through the housing options and application process for our returning residents. Please feel free to ask questions in the video comments or tune into our Apartment Open House Instagram Q&A on April 10th, where we'll be available all day for questions. On campus, we have two different housing agreements, 9-month and 12-month. Before you submit your housing application, your first decision is, which do you want to apply for? The 9-month housing agreement runs from the beginning of autumn quarter to the end of spring quarter, while the 12-month agreement runs from the beginning of autumn quarter to the end of summer quarter. If you're going to be graduating at the end of spring 22, or you're not planning on being on campus during summer of 22, I would strongly recommend that you apply for 9-month housing. If you choose to apply for 12-month and decide not to be here for summer or graduate in the spring, you'll still be responsible for your summer housing charges. Starting off with our 9-month apartment options, we have Stevens Court, Mercer Courts Building A, B, and C, and Nordheim Court Buildings 1, 3, and 4. Moving on to our 12-month options, we have CEDAR Apartments in Nordheim Court Buildings 2, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Our last 12-month option is Mercer Court Buildings D and E, which are exclusively for graduate students. All of these communities are single rooms and shared apartments. As you're starting to browse your on-campus housing options, make sure to check out our UW HFS YouTube page. We have virtual and 360 tours for all of our housing types and communities, so you can get a feel for what the rooms look like. There are a couple of changes for the 21-22 application that I would like to share with you. Last year, we were very lenient with terms of the application and agreement because of the sudden and devastating impacts of the pandemic. As the world begins to return to normal, we expect to return to regular operations, including adherence to all terms of the housing applications and agreements. This includes obligations related to cancellation, termination, and housing and dining charges. The 9-month agreement early termination policy will be changed to mirror the terms of the 12-month agreement. This means that if a student terminates their 9-month housing agreement early, they'll still be responsible for the housing costs for the remaining quarters. However, they will not be charged for dining for future quarters. So for example, if Dub signs up for a 9-month agreement and then moves in for autumn quarter, but decides he wants to move out at the end of winter quarter, he will still be responsible for paying spring quarter housing charges. Next, all buildings will be open for winter break. We've also added a question on the application so you can let us know whether or not you'd like to keep your selected dining account level if you're assigned to a dining optional area, rather than having to remember to opt out or opt into the dining account later in the summer. Returning residents will also only be able to pull in matriculated students as roommates. For 21-22, we will be expanding our mixed-gendered options beyond our apartments to include residence hall rooms. Students may apply for a mixed-gender room preference with a member of a different gender, as long as the roommates request one another. The room types available for mixed gender are doubles and triples with private bathrooms or an all-gender community bathroom. For more information about this process, you can visit our website. So, why might you want to live in an on-campus apartment or just on campus in general? The first reason is that you have flexibility with your agreement duration and room type preferences. Most off-campus communities only have a 12-month option, so you don't have the shortened agreement option if you aren't going to be here for the summer. It's also extremely convenient to live so close to your classes. As an apartment resident, you continue to have access to all of our HFS resources and amenities, in addition to having all-inclusive housing payment. No need to manage separate utility and rent bills, and you can also use your financial aid to pay for on-campus apartments if that's something you're receiving. For specific rate information, you can take a look at the HFS rates page. Rates listed on the website are per person and have been approved for the 21-22 year. The returning resident housing application will go live on April 6th, and the deadline to apply is April 12th at 11:59 p.m. You will first need to make sure that you've submitted your HFS student profile, where you'll provide us with your contact information, personal pronouns, and authorize any third parties on your housing account. Then, starting April 6th, you will be able to log into your MyHFS homepage at myhfs.housing.uw.edu and apply. On the application, you'll submit your housing preferences, request roommates if you have them, and choose your dining account level. In June, you'll be sent an email with a how-to video and more information about your room selection appointment. Then, at your selection time, a link will appear on your MyHFS homepage, and you'll be able to choose your room. Room selection times are determined by the number of quarters you've been living with HFS, so those who have been living on campus longer are going to have earlier room selection times. If you go through the returning resident application process and decide you do not want to live on campus, you have until May 15th to cancel for no charge. If you cancel after that, you will owe charges based off of the date you cancel. If you have any questions about the returning resident application process, please feel free to email hfsinfo@uw.edu, And make sure to join us on Instagram on April 10th for our apartment open house Q&A.